family, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a little bit different because I am doing IKEA hacks. So I went to IKEA and I purchased two pieces, this shelf right here which cost $14.99 and then an end table which cost $8.99, and they're pretty plain when you purchase them. This was just a metal shelf, but I used a certain hack to really spruce them up and match my home decor, which is very farmhouse-like. I had an empty space right here and I ended up getting the shelf that fit perfectly there, so I wanted to make it match the rest of my decor inside of my house as well as my furniture. And what's really cool about this particular piece, this right here, it's floor samples. I've only ever done one other IKEA hack video, and in that video it was more of a marble theme, so this time around I wanted to stick with the farmhouse decor. If you don't live close to an IKEA, don't worry, these hacks are not just for IKEA furniture. You can use this on like a regular bookcase you get from like Walmart or Target or other pieces of furniture that aren't from IKEA. And what's crazy to me are the wooden looking supplies that I needed for the end table, and this all only cost me under $10. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you guys want to see another IKEA hack video, if we could get this one to 5,000 thumbs up, I'll do another IKEA hack video, but with more of a glamorous theme. Like maybe I'll do something that involves a mirror or maybe marble again, but something that's a little bit more glam than just the farmhouse look. Also, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button so you're notified every single time that I upload. With that being said, let's begin the tutorial.
Let's start with the metal shelf. So I got this from IKEA, obviously, and it was $14.99. When you set it all up, honestly, it's not that hard. Maybe you'll end up bending the metal just a little bit, but it actually comes together more nicely if you're able to bend it a little bit. I had to cut some of this like short just because my underwear was showing and I didn't realize it. So yeah, this is not entirely me putting it together. Okay, so the way that I am going to make this look different is I am going to be using vinyl tiles from the hardware store. You're going to need a razor to cut through them, and then I'm also going to be using like this L-shaped ruler as well as the cutting board. It's just easier to make sure the measurements are just on point with that cutting board, and then the ruler, it's like if I cut through it, it's going to be okay. Now what you want to do is you want to measure out your pieces so that they fit your shelf. I had to do 2 pieces for every single shelf from the type of vinyl tile that I bought. If you're wondering what vinyl tile is, basically it's like what people use on the floor. There's a sticky adhesive to the back of it, so you don't have to buy an extra adhesive if you don't want to. What you do is you take your razor and you cut semi through the tile. You're really not going to be able to cut entirely through the tile, but you just semi get it through, and then you bend the tile and it should just snap right off. And if it doesn't snap right off, you can go back with your razor, cut a little bit more through it, and for sure it'll snap off the second time. It really isn't hard to do. If I can do it, I'm positive you can do it. Just cut through it, bend the tile, it should break. If it doesn't break, then just go through it one more time with the razor. And again, I suggest having a cutting board on hand just because it makes life so much easier. You don't need one. I've done it before without one, but it just made life so much easier for me. I got my tiles at Lowe's. I recommend going to Lowe's because they had the biggest selection and at inexpensive prices. I saw it at Home Depot, I saw it at Menards, but it just wasn't the biggest selection. And then Lowe's on top of that had more that you could buy at just one piece, where a few of the ones I saw at like Home Depot and stuff, I had to buy an entire box. After every piece that you cut, I recommend going to your shelf, making sure that it fits properly so you don't go and mess up the second piece. So I had, you know, my initial pieces from the vinyl tile that I cut, but then I had to take another piece and cut into that height just to make it fit the shelves properly. It depends on the tile you buy. You might buy a tile that fits this right off the back and you don't even have to cut through it, or you might have to cut through it like I did. You just got to make sure you're measuring every single time that you cut a tile. Once you have all your tile pieces cut up, you can now stick them directly to your shelf. Again, you can get a different adhesive. Now I decided not to use another adhesive just because I feel like if I want to change the look of this, I can. Whereas if I used another adhesive to put on those tiles, I wouldn't be able to get them off, and I can't remake the shelf into, you know, a different color if I wanted to. Now this next part I'm super proud of because I think it looks really cool. So what I did is I used samples from Lowe's. So it's the flooring samples. I purchased 9 of them. Some places have free samples like Menards. These ones you have to pay 25 cents for. And yeah, so I only had to get 9. It wasn't too bad. It was $2.95 and I felt better paying for them just because I got so much. If they were free, I kind of would feel weird taking the entire supply. So what these floor tiles do is they snap into place. You just have to bend them a bit. You might see some cracking or hear cracking, but that's the way you're going to get it to attach to each other. If you are having a hard time, you can go ahead and use some glue to make sure they don't go anywhere. Now I attached 3 for each like shelf area that I ended up decorating. To attach those samples to the metal, I'm using E6000 glue. Now what I did was I put the E6000 glue along the metal trimming in the inside of the shelf. It's hard to describe, but you can see what I'm doing. And then I placed down the sample piece that I attached 3 to. Now you do need something to kind of hold it up in place, otherwise it wants to fall down. So in this instance, I was just using extra sample pieces to hold it up in place while the glue dried. Then the second row, what I did was I decided to use some hot glue and E6000. So the hot glue kept it in place while the E6000 dried. The E6000 is going to make sure this stuff doesn't go anywhere. Hot glue is just going to keep it in place. If you decided to just use hot glue, it's going to fall off on you. And that time around, I just placed little Jenga pieces below it, and that was able to hold up the sample pieces. Whatever you do, remember to take the sticker off. I forgot to take the sticker off of those sample pieces. You could use the vinyl tile there as well if you wanted to. I just really like the look of these sample pieces, and that's actually why I ended up getting them. And I don't know, it just looked really, really nice to me. You could bring that down all the way to the bottom of the entire like organizer shelf. It's up to you. You can add more of that to like the back of the shelf. I just put it on the very front. And then I just decorated this thing, and I just think it's so cute. I ended up adding just a loose shelf piece that I got from Menards at the very top. It was white. At first I was thinking maybe I could use those, but they're just too big. But I really liked putting the white one at the top. It just looks really nice. And that's it for this HYLLIS shelf hack. If you want to see the other hack I did, I'll link it down below for you guys. I spray painted it, and that time I used contact paper. So now I'm going to show you the same hack on the LAC end table. This one was $8.99. They do carry one that has like an oak finish to it. It really looks like you just put contact paper around the entire thing, and that one I believe is $12.99. So I go ahead and I screw it all in. This is me near the leg. Okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I take the legs out and I screw them in. It's easier just to slightly screw the screw inside of the table and then just kind of twist the leg on. And as you're twisting the leg, it's going to go into the table at the same time. At first I was struggling with it, but then once I got the first leg on, it was easy to get the other legs on. So with this table, I'm doing the same thing. I am using the vinyl tiles. This time around, I have these square pieces. And what I do is I cut them into 4 pieces. So one square piece I cut down into 4 pieces. And then I just kind of cut into them, making different sizes of that rectangular shape. And the reason I did that is I wanted it to look like there was a bunch of pieces of wood on top of this. And all you have to do is just figure out what you want to do. I mean, if you want to cover this in 4 separate pieces of tile, you can do that. But I just wanted to do a bunch of little pieces of tile that look like almost like flooring on top of it. Now I made a mistake. First I just laid it all out before I attached it to the table, and once I had it laid out the way I wanted it to look, I started to attach it. But the mistake I made is I didn't go with the grain of the wood. Like, you want the grain of the wood to be going in the same direction, and I did not do that, and I noticed it after I made the table. Still looks nice to me, but if you're somebody who notices details like that, you just want to make sure when you're cutting your tile that you are cutting it so all of the pieces go with the same grain and just look. Again, highly recommend the cutting board. I had just bought that thing and I'm so happy I bought it because it made cutting so much easier. Because lots of times, even if you're just using a ruler, it could be annoying and you end up cutting everything like at a weird angle. I really, really like the cutting board. So that is it for these 2 IKEA hacks. All I did was use vinyl tile and some samples from Lowe's, and each one was so inexpensive to do. For the lac shelf, it only cost me $4 for the vinyl tile, and it's a little bit different from contact paper. I actually like the way it looks more. It looks a little bit more realistic than contact paper. Actually, a lot more realistic, because contact paper really, like, when you do wood, contact paper doesn't look that realistic. I hope you guys enjoyed these IKEA hacks. Super easy to do. I promise you, you will not have a hard time doing it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more IKEA hacks, make sure you give the video a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments below. I probably will do like a glamorous one next time. Anyways, I will see you guys. Take care. Bye.